Boom! Pirates and Dinosaurs Ixalan official spoiler is actually out. Welcome in, much love, Trav here. We're going to go over some of the new cards and some of the new rules and think about some of the ramifications for the next big round of tournaments. I got my buddy and teammate Donald Smith competing in the World Championships. Really fucking cool. And then my next tournament is with Ixalan in Phoenix. I'm excited about that. Probably stop in Vegas to do some draft camp type stuff with Ben Friedman, some other guys, and then the Pro Tour in Albuquerque. Very exciting things. Welcome in, much love here. Currently chilling out in Hawaii, doing some farm work, hanging out, getting some soaking up some sun, working out, training, and making some sweet, tasty content for you today. So there's been some Ixalan stuff out for a while. I haven't really made any videos about the leaks or about any of the cards, just because I wasn't too excited about it. Respect for Wizards, we've been discussing it inside our mastermind training group about what future standard is going to be like, and now we can finally do it. So we're just going to go through this Matt Tabak article and talk about some of the cards. So the first thing we see is this common ability, Enrage. Whenever the creature is dealt damage, it has its Enrage effect. Kind of interesting. What is it similar to? It's similar to I guess it's very similar to Afflict, right? Like if it's blocked, the Afflict goes off. If it's blocked, then the Enrage goes off. The main difference is that Enrage lets you block as well. So it's more encouraging to blocking. Like this thing's kind of a nasty blocker, I suppose. It's pretty big and it's going to burn them to the face as well. That's pretty sweet. So that's kind of a cool mechanic that we'll have to see what the other Enrage abilities are, if they're doing damage to the face or pumping or ramping or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting ability, pretty basic, that is going to make you not want to block at all, and it's going to make racing, you're just going to race, I think, more so. And Wizards likes that, and I like that. Races, to me, are some of the most fun kinds of Magic, because it's just so unclear who's going to win. There's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of identifying your role and trying to just survive at one and kill them. So that's a fine mechanic. Simple. Raid. When it enters the battlefield, if you attacked, target opponent discards a card. Here's another mechanic that makes you want to attack, which I like. I like that. I mean, there used to be an era and time in Magic when they didn't reward you for attacking so much, and then there were all these ground stalls, and it came down to who had the card with the repeated ability activation, and you just do that. And I think these mechanics are good because they keep the game going. So here we have one on a human pirate. There's a bunch of pirates. I guess pirate tribal is going to be a thing that we're going to have to look at and see if this is one of the top tier decks. It might be, because they generally push the new set or push the new mechanics to make them good. So pirates, on the lookout for that. Prosperous Pirates, another one. Pirate seems to be kind of a blue-black or Grixis thing. Here's a cool ability. So you have these new treasures, which are clues, basically. So you have clues, a little artifact you store, 2 mana, sack it, draw a card. Then you have treasures, a little artifact you store, sack it to get a mana. I like this mechanic. I like having stored resources, stored mana, stored cards, whatever. And this one's is a cool one. So I'm happy with the new treasures and clues, and this is just a cool mechanic. So that's cool. What does it say? Merfolk. Okay, there's some Merfolk we've seen. There's some vampires. Okay. Tishana's Wayfinder. So this explore mechanic is so much text, but it's pretty cool and interesting. It's a little bit random, but it's not that random because you're always getting some value. So 3 mana for a 2/2. You explore, meaning you flip the top card of your library. If it's a land, you draw it. Otherwise, you put a +1 counter on it. Then you put the card back, or you can put it in your graveyard. So you can have a little scry action or graveyard fill action or draw a card. I mean, it's 3 mana 2/2 draw a card, or it's 3 mana 3/3 scry. That's pretty fucking good, right? And that's a common. So that seems pretty good to me. It's pretty random as well. Sometimes you're gonna get a 2/2 when you want a 3/3. Sometimes you're gonna get a 3/3 when you really want to land. But pretty cool. I like the mechanic. It's a bit random, but I don't really mind because it's not that random. You're always going to get something good, and it's kind of cool. Maybe that gets old, but I don't mind it. Okay, so vehicles are back. Obviously, pirates need vehicles. I'm not a huge fan of vehicles. I don't hate them. I like the mechanic flavorfully, but I don't really like how it plays out with how big the creatures are. But if it's just like this, it's not a big deal. This is a toned down Renegade Freighter. A 3 mana 4/3 is not that annoying, so this one is fine by me. And I think vehicles will be a lot better when they're just toned down. Since there was a new mechanic in the last set, it was pushed and there were so many of them. But now, if they can just sprinkle them in, it will be fine, right? Like when equipment came out in Mirrored and half the cards were equipment, and it was fucking stupid. And some of them were too good. But after the new set thing wore off, we just sprinkle in equipment, and it's a great, and they work awesome. So I think vehicles will be the same thing. We're like, okay, finally, they're not the main attraction, and they can be mediocre in the background. Treasure map. Okay, here's the first official spoiler or whatever. 2 mana artifact, 1 mana scry 1. Put a landmark counter on it, and then you once there's 3 counters on it, you get 3 treasure tokens, and you flip it into a land that taps for mana and sacks to draw a card. So this is kind of interesting. It's a lot. I mean, you're doing it at earliest by turn 5, and you're spending 5 mana to do it. And what you're getting is ramp land with the potential to draw 3 cards, and 3 treasure with the potential to ramp a lot. So make no mistake about it, this is a ramp card. Actually, this is a ramp to dinosaurs. If you just do this, if you just play it turn 2, scry turn 3, scry turn 4, scry turn 5, it's going to flip into Treasure Cove. You're going to have 8 mana on turn 5, or 10 mana on turn 6, because you have the extra land. So Ulamog's rotating out, but that's pretty interesting. It's probably a pretty decent one for limited, for any kind of slow deck that wants to win the late game, or anything to deal with stall. I mean, these cards have gotten a lot worse in limited just because things have gotten so much faster, because Wizards encourages attacking. We'll see if that remains to be the case, but it's a sweet card. It's flavorful. It tells you what the set is meant to be and about. It's like kind of Zendikar Adventure World type thing, which is a fun flavor. I like it. Adventure World is cool to me. I'm an adventurer. I'm on fucking Palm Tree Island right now. I relate to this. I want to go on a treasure map, go to the big island, and try to find some shit. Like, this is cool. I'm down. Sign me up. I like the flavor. Cool. And then here's pretty interesting. First, we have this Jace, which is, I like this Jace. It's good to me. 3 mana for a 3/3. The first ability I'm looking at is you -2, and you get a 2/2. That's pretty decent protection. You have a 2/2 blocker for your Jace. They can't. I mean, you get pressure, and then you start +1ing from there, and it lets you start looting. The plus is pretty weak, but it also gets quickly to this -5, where you clone 2 Jaces, and then you can make 2 illusions, and you start to go off. Kind of crazy. This one seems, I mean, it's 3 mana Planeswalker that makes a creature immediately, and has a quick ultimate. That is kind of sweet. It's pretty cool. I like it. I'm down. Sign me up. Sign me up. That's a strong Jace. And I like that it's more about the board and less about just drawing raw cards. You can see how far Magic has come from Jace Beleren. Jace Beleren's probably a much stronger Magic card than this one, but it just doesn't play like it's just card draw. It's just annoying. This one is cool. It's more plays to the board, which I think makes Magic better. So kudos, Wizards, good job. And then with that, there's also this new rule which I like, where now you can have multiples of the same planeswalker with different name. So you can have this Jace, you can have all sorts of Jaces. You can have Liliana of the Veil and Liliana of the Last Hope out at the same time in Modern now. And what that means is you can build your deck a little bit different, where you can have multiples of the same one. You don't need to worry about drawing too many. So I like that. It seems kind of obvious as well for them. Like, yo, how do we make people buy more Mythic Planeswalkers? We let you play more in the same deck. Sure, okay. Increase demand. And that's smart. And no one's really mad about it either, because that was kind of a dumb rule. Who doesn't want to have all six Jaces or whatever in play? I do. So cool. What do you think about the new set? What stands out to you? I'm a big fan personally. Looks cool. Looks like a fun one. Reminds me of Zendikar, absolutely. Adventure World theme. And I'm excited to see what comes, and excited for these upcoming tournaments. And I'm excited to live in my own real adventure world out here for the next couple months and for the next year as I travel to all these events. Should be pretty fucking cool. So let me know what you think, what comes to mind, what do you see, what do you want to see from the new set, and holler in the comments down below. Peace!